Alrighty, let's solve this right here. Well, we don't have a logarithm method to solve when we have an exponent on both sides. But we do see something here. Isn't 49 7 to some power? So watch what happens here. I'm going to try something. I'm going to leave 7 to the x minus 8 power. And over here, I'm going to write 49 as 7 squared. And then leave this here. All right. Well, since they're both base 7s, we can know something here. All right. And since this is a power to a power, don't we multiply this? So let's rewrite that as, again, 7x minus 8 over here. And this is going to be 7. What you're going to do is you multiply this, distribute it to both those. So it's going to be the 6 minus 4x power. Now, if we think about this, if they're both base 7, wouldn't we say that the powers have to be equal as well? For these two sides to be equal since they have the same bases. So what we could say is really just ignore the 7s and just say, hey, shouldn't the powers have to be equal since they have the same base? And if we solve this, we will get the answer. So let's solve it. Let's add the 4x over to both sides. All right, that gives me 5x minus 8 equals 6. All right, then I'm going to add the 8 over to both sides. And that gives me 5x equals 14. Last step, let's divide by 5. And my answer becomes x equals 14 over 5, which is a perfectly fine answer for this. It'd be kind of hard to go back and check this, but that is the answer. So when you have exponents on both sides, what you want to do is you want to try to change both sides so they have the same base. That would be the best method. All right, so this one. Well, let's see what happens here. Well, to solve this, it looks like we might need a log at some point, but let us see where we go here. Let us first get rid of this 1. Let's clean it up a little bit first. So I'm going to minus the 1 over. Oops, I don't know why I did that. I know why. But boom. This is going to be 1 over 27 to the x equals 6. All right, now I get rid of this 2 right here. So if I divide both sides by 2, I now have 1 over 27 to the x equals 3. Now I could make this a log, and I could use a calculator to crunch that. But what I could also do is something else. There is another way. And what that would be is I'm going to change 27 to be 3 to the negative third to the x power equals 3. Because 27 is 3 to the third, and since it's on the bottom, it's negative. And that would mean that 3 to the negative 3x power equals 3. And wouldn't that be to the first? Because there's no power, so it's the first power. So since they're both base 3s, kind of like both base 7s here, can we just say the powers are equal? So couldn't I just say that negative 3x has to equal 1, and when I solve that and divide by 3 to both, negative 3 by both sides, I get x equals negative 1/3. And that would be your answer. Now another method would have been to make this log base 1 over 27, 3 equals x. You could have done this. You could have then done x equals, and it would be log 3 over log 1 over 27. And if you type that in your calculator, you would get this answer. So you could approach it this way if you had a calculator to crunch it, or you can make the same bases and do it this way. All right, last problem. This is inequality. So let's solve this inequality. All righty. First step is let's get rid of this 8 by minusing 8 to both sides. That would leave us a negative 63. Be negative 7, 3 to the x. All right, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7 next. When I do that, this becomes a positive 9. When I divide by negative, the inequality flips, and I have 3 to the x now. Now, I don't like the x on the right side, so I'm going to rewrite this as 3 to the x, flip the inequality, and that's 9. Now, there's options here. The option I'm going to do real quick is to think about this. 3 to the x is greater than 3 squared. Again, I notice 9 is 3 squared. So wouldn't that mean that x has to be greater than 2. Because if the bases are the same, don't the powers have to be the same? So aren't we looking for something where the power is greater than 2? And I am done. Now, if you don't like that method, you could simply come over here and make this log base 3, 9, and then an x over here, and then the inequality flips. And then if you solve this, you would get x is greater than or equal to 2, which would be the same answer. Either way works. They get the same answer.